Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Stand. I am joined by Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail for a little interview in Copenhagen, in Denmark. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, Beth.
We've just been in Ericsson House press conference. Seems in quite good spirits. Obviously, got that win against Fulham. But a bit of bad news for Man United fans. Speaking about injuries, Casemiro Martinez, he said Casemiro is out for several weeks and we probably won't see him or Martinez before Christmas. This might take Casemiro up to the January transfer window, maybe.
It came as a shock to all of us. Yeah, we're having this debate before about what several actually means, and in my book, several weeks is 3 weeks. One more than that's a month. So I thought 3 weeks when it was first mentioned about Casemiro to Christmas is a big shock. He's out for quite a while now, so that's a big setback. One more setback in terms of injuries. And like you say, it takes him through until January probably.
Yeah, and Martinez as well is another one where, there was rumours that he was playing through painkillers at the start of the season, and now it feels like the time that he's out just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Maybe it might push Manchester United to go for a centre-back in January. That's the rumour.
Yeah, that was true about the painkillers. He was suffering. He'd obviously not completely overcome the injury from last season. The foot injury hadn't completely healed, and you could tell his form wasn't right.
Yeah.
He just didn't look himself.
Wasn't the same Martinez, was it?
He's a fantastic player and a great personality, and he didn't look right. And so obviously what's happened. He's been a massive miss for them, a huge miss this season. In terms of January, as a club, they don't like to particularly buy in January or even loan. It's never worked out too well for them. I think as long as he is back, it's always been stated as being about 3 months. So that will be on course for about January. I think if he's back, they've got enough centre-backs there that they probably can cope without having to go and buy somebody else.
Yeah, hopefully he will be back because, like you said, a fantastic player that I thought got a bit of a hard rap at the start of the season considering everything that he's kind of been through. I just hope the injuries start to, stop with him because it's the same injury reoccurring, but it's frustrating because the fans love him and he's such a brilliant footballer. But another thing I want to talk about is we were just discussing off camera before the Jadon Sancho situation. Talks of him getting removed from the WhatsApp group, I'm not sure how true that is, but that was something that was been reported. We were just saying he has to go in January. It's such a big problem for Manchester United. They're going to keep getting asked about it. Obviously, you've got a big asset, over 300 grand a week. You paid over 70 million for him in the reserves, basically, and not even training with the first team. Do you think Man United would definitely get rid of him, maybe on loan in January?
I think you're right. I think he has to go. You've seen this season, a player like Maguire has turned things around superbly well, and he was pretty much gone in the summer. He's managed to bring things around. With Sancho, it does feel like a lost cause now.
Yeah.
He's not saying sorry. If he does say sorry right now, what does it mean? Because Erik ten Hag wants a sincere apology, and how can it be sincere after 2-3 months?
Yeah, it wouldn't be, would it?
No, exactly. So I think unless there's some, some cataclysmic turnaround, Jadon Sancho clearly has no future under Ten Hag. He has to leave. I think January, in terms of the business for January, he has to be out of the club. They have to, get rid of him to kind of solve this. And I guess in that sense, maybe bring somebody in because that would leave them one player short. He would obviously be a gap to go and fill. On top of that, I'm not sure how much more they will do. There's been talk of possibly a forward coming in. That I guess could happen because clearly the team isn't scoring goals right now. They do need goals and they're not getting them, so yeah.
The question a lot of people would say though, is it the personnel or is it the way we play up until the final third? Because obviously there's a lot of personnel that isn't performing. Rashford was on such a hot streak last season and just isn't hitting that form this season. Anthony's disappointed a lot of people. Sancho's obviously out of the team. Højlund feeding off scraps a little bit. And sometimes you think, signing a forward will solve that. But realistically, you sign a forward and play him up front maybe instead of Rasmus, and you've got the same issue where there's no chances being created. But on that topic, you talk about replacing Sancho if he leaves. Do you think the club would replace him necessarily with another winger? Obviously, Ahmad looks like he's close to returning. He's a potential that could maybe come on the scene and do well. You've got Anthony there. Hopefully, he starts to improve.
Mason Mount.
Yeah, Mason Mount, even Pellistri who came on and got an assist. Yeah. I think it'd be a bit, personally, in my opinion, it might happen, but I think it'd be a bit silly to misuse the replacement of Sancho being on another winger when realistically there's maybe other positions that money could be used on.
I would agree, and you're absolutely right in terms of the service I don't think many people are kind of doubting Højlund yet. I think he's clearly, he's a real presence. He's got a fantastic character.
Fans love him.
He's clearly not scoring goals, but you've got to look at the touches in the box, the chances. He doesn't waste chances very often. He just doesn't get chances. That's
It's
the
like
thing.
that one against Galatasaray when he literally took it himself and
exactly.
scored. It was such a fantastic goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had to do it. Didn't come from anyone. He did it all himself. But strikers rely on that service, and when it's not there for you, it's a tough job, isn't it?
He's not missing chances. That would be a concern. But he's not getting the chances. That's the big thing. And you're looking at the kind of service that he's getting. It's not good enough. So I'm not judging him at the moment. I don't think people are. I think they are looking at the system. They're saying, as a team, as a club, they're not creating the chances for people like him. So you're quite right. If you get another forward in, well, that's fine. But if he's not getting service either, it's no good. That has to change first and foremost.
100% I agree with you on that one. I think a lot of, mostly near enough every fan would agree on that subject. I mean, Højlund gets a lot of praise by the Man United fans, got a great attitude. I think he's got a lot of potential. Like, if you stuck him in that City team, he'd be scoring goals, no problem, in my opinion. But, I mean, people were criticising Martial for being the striker, but, you look at it and you think, he was on a graveyard shift as well, a little bit in that sense. But, I mean, what I did want to speak to you about as well is, Amrabat, Mason Mount, both midfield signings for Erik ten Hag in the summer. Mount given the number 7, Amrabat really pushed for him at the end. Everyone was excited about these two players, and neither of them could, so far, have sealed a spot in the starting 11 where they're going to start next game. I think this is an issue for Ten Hag, that two of his signings aren't really starters for Man United right now. We're quite a way into the season. Not
just two. I mean, I think it's a big issue for Erik ten Hag, the fact that we're 18 months in, we're £400 million in. This is his team now. This is his team, and he's built it, and they've got the players that he wanted. And you're looking at Anthony, and you're looking... I mean, Amrabat is still early days. Mount, it has been so underwhelming, since he came in. They wanted a centre-forward. They got Mason Mount, was their first signing. Then they got the keeper, and then they got centre-forward. And Mount's always felt like a slightly strange one to me, and 3 months in, I'm still none the wiser about what the plan is for Mason Mount, and he hasn't done enough. He's obviously not playing regularly. Amrabat, we'll still wait and see. I think the jury's out there a little bit. Anthony, where second season now, he's just not doing it. And these are all Erik ten Hag signings. And you look at, I guess to an extent, Malacia as well. He was a willing trier, and but he's not a first team player at the moment. You're probably, you're only looking really at Martinez at the moment, who has been a massive success. There's not many beyond that.
I think Onana will be, to be honest with you. He started to progress recently. Obviously got off to a bad start, but I think he's put some solid performances together. Then you look at Højlund and you think, there's potential there, but you are right, you are questioning a lot of the signings. I mean, when fans are calling for Facundo Palestra, who cost Manchester United £5 million, who's a young player, really willing, coming into the team and making an effort to start over a near enough £90 million signing that everyone was expecting to be great. And you don't like to hold price tags over a player's head, but he really has been poor. I mean, there is some question marks, but then again, that would come down to Ten Hag hasn't really had I would say, an experienced sporting director to help him.
Yeah, I mean, the entire structure of the club is now under scrutiny. When you've got Jim Ratcliffe looking like he's coming in, with Dave Brailsford, they'll be looking at this. They'll be looking at the whole structure, how it's performed, what it's produced. And, I think there's possibly big changes coming. And yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because I saw the MEM put out earlier today that Richard Arnold and John Murtough are at risk of losing their jobs under the new Sir Jim regime. Is that something that you've heard as well?
Yeah, and I think from day one, because of Brailsford, of what he's done with Ineos and the other football clubs, the links to Paul Mitchell. So there's a lot of smoke there. I think Richard Arnold and John Murtough probably aren't too comfortable right now, because these people don't pay £1.4 billion just to continue
the same structure.
The same thing. They'll be coming in wanting to improve, quite rightly wanting to improve after 10 years. They will want to improve things, and I'm sure fans want them to improve things. So they will not be coming in just to go and sit on their hands and watch things go round and round and round. They will want improvements. They'll want change, and of course, when you look at the current structure, apart from the manager, you're looking at the CEO and you're looking at the football director, yeah.
Absolutely. And lastly, Chris, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Erik ten Hag being under a little bit of pressure. You know, a lot of media headlines have talked about Erik ten Hag, you know, what is the plan? What is the style of play? People questioning whether he's the right man to take Manchester United forward. I know it on this channel and me, well, I'll speak to for myself. I definitely think Erik ten Hag is the right man to take Manchester United forward. I think Rome wasn't built in a day and the manager needs time. Is that beating from the same drum as Manchester United? Is that how they feel right now? And even Sir Jim coming in, you know, sometimes new owners come in. I know he's not 100%, but they look at all of it. Is Erik ten Hag got the backing, do you think?
I think when you appoint a manager, and certainly having had, 5 since Sir Alex, you desperately want him to go and succeed. You back him with £400 million. You want him to succeed because, you know, it's your decision too. You know, so it's in everyone's interest that Erik ten Hag succeeds. Again, going back to the Arnold and Murta issue, I think that when you have new owners coming in, it's always a slightly dodgy time for any manager if the new regime hasn't installed you. And again, you know, change can happen. It's happened time and time again. You see managers who have fallen because the people coming into the club and taking over have not been the people that appointed them. Hopefully, they will give him a chance. I think they will do. Certainly within the club right now, total support for Erik ten Hag. Hopefully support for him going forward if any new regime does come in. But going back to what I mentioned before, you know, he has to take his fair share of the blame here. It's 18 months in, it's £400 million, a lot of new signings. And the concern for me is that what is this team? What's the style? What's the DNA? Where are we going? What are we doing? What's the plan? And I watch them every single game, and I'm not sure what the plan is, and that concerns me. And I really hope they sort it out. I hope Erik ten Hag, you know, hits a good form now, and they get 2 wins, international break, they go again, some tough fixtures coming up, you know, so he's not out of the woods yet by a long way, but I hope he succeeds, and the club certainly are backing him right now, yeah.
I think you just summed up really how a lot of the fans are feeling. Hopeful. That's what you've got to be. You've got to be hopeful, and you've got to back your manager and hope he brings success to Manchester United. The same way, obviously, it was a starting block last year, you know, 3rd Champions League, which Manchester United missed out on in a trophy. We wanted to kick on from that. Obviously, this season hasn't started off the way we would like to, but we're hopeful in Erik ten Hag and hopeful that he can make Manchester United a success. But as you say, structure and other things come into play as well. But Chris, thank you so much for speaking to us in Copenhagen, and we'll see you at the game tomorrow. And hopefully, as I say, we might start to see some sort of a style. I hope that for every game. But thank you all of you guys for watching as well. And yeah, everyone, look forward to the game, the Copenhagen game. Hopefully Manchester United can get the 3 points in the Champions League. We don't want Europa. And thanks for Chris for speaking to us. But we'll see you on the next one, everyone.